Recently, the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, in his recent visit to the New York, made a statement that kidnapping and insecurity in Nigeria is not a new thing, and also that kidnapping in some states are found to be untrue. What's your reaction to this, sir?
Section 14, subsection 2B of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, is to the effect that the primary purpose of governance is the welfare and security of its citizens. And therefore, if that is one of the fundamental objectives and directive principles of the state of Nigeria, it becomes mandatory, constitutionally binding on the Buhari administration, albeit Oshibajo's joint ticket, to ensure that lives and property are secured. So it will not lie on the mouth of Mr. Vice President to say that it is not a new thing. We know that no person voted for President Buhari because of his oratory powers, or that he can hold an audience spellbound with properly articulated vision, or so much about dealing with the complexities of the economy, for instance. The primary reason why Buhari was elected by Nigerians is on that core point of providing security, considering his background, and of course dealing with the issue of corruption. So we understand, and that is a fact, that kidnapping even predates this republic. We've had kidnapping soon after the civil war, even dating back to after the military coup. So we understand all of this. But the purpose of their emergence, the whole essence of their emergence, is to fix what has gone wrong.
Looking at all of these challenges that we have now, would you recommend the creation of state police in curbing insecurity in Nigeria?
Well, there's no need over flogging this issue. We have made the point severally, and we are determined to continue to push it, that for as long as you accept the federal system of government to run your government as a federation, for that long you can do very little other than practicing the principles of federalism. One of the essential principles of federalism is the juxtaposition of state powers at different tiers of government. Is it economic power? Is it fiscal power? Is it security power? Is it all forms of state power? When you refuse to do that, one, you will run into serious crisis with the kind of federalism you are practicing. Secondly, you will undermine the efficiency and the benefits of federalism. This is precisely where we are. We profess federalism, but we do not practice federalism. In short, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is known as the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's what is written. But you know, the robe does not make the monk. So the fact that we call it Constitution of Federal Republic does not mean that we are practicing federal system of government. As a fact, it seems that we are practicing unitary system of government, which was the desire of the military government when they hijacked state power and started their command and rule system. For a country as heterogeneous, as multi-religious, multi-national country like Nigeria, you cannot run away from practicing federalism. One of the very integral aspects of that practice is to ensure the decentralization of the security arrangement. It is the only way by which you can effectively deal with policing in such a society. And therefore, very little can be said more in relation to state policing. As a matter of fact, state policing is already being practiced. There is no state in this country that I know that has not contributed immensely in the provision, procurement, and even maintenance of the tools of security engagement, whether you're talking of vehicles, you're talking of manpower, you're talking of maintenance of those vehicles, and so many security initiatives. In Lagos State, for instance, for over 10 years now, or thereabout, we've had what is known as the Security Trust Fund. It's a Lagos State initiative to deal with the peculiarity of policing in Lagos State and ensure that it is beefed up to that extent where they are able to match and even overpower the activities of dissident members of the society. That is state police already. That is state policing. So the point is clear that the one we have been practicing has shown not to be effective at all. And in fact, in practice, state policing is already being practiced. But what the government has failed to do is to come out fully, even when they make allusions to it at intervals, including the recent pronouncement of the president, which he retracted, albeit in a state of confusion. You must first of all have the clarity of purpose. You must also have the force of the conviction of the case you push to be able to drive it through, particularly in a complex society such as ours. And therefore, I didn't find it palatable that the president could equivocate, prevaricate, and suffer so much ambivalence regarding the issue of state policing in his last, remarks, which he retracted at a point. And so, it's not in dispute that we need state policing. It is not debatable that state policing will assist in effectively reorganizing our policing practices. It is also not in doubt that only state policing that recognizes the decentralization of power can help to deal with policing in a heterogeneous society such as ours.
So moving up to national politics, the president is yet to make public announce if he had already formed the list, the ministerial and those that will make his cabinet. What's your take on this? Do you think the wait is necessary?
It's just unfortunate. In the thinking of the government, President Muhammadu Buhari, 1 month may not be too much. But I tell you, Mr. President has lost a lot of golden opportunities to make very serious impressions. And as I speak to you, beyond the event of the election itself, and beyond the euphoria of the success that was recorded and now being challenged, the other thing that galvanizes the energy of the Nigerian people that tend to shape or influence the enthusiasm or optimism of the Nigerian people is the quality of the team that you are able to gather together for the project of the Nigerian, the Nigerian project. And so when you lose that golden period to key into the mood of the Nigerian people and then extract as much conviction from them as is required to drive these difficult processes, you lose that. it's not a tangible thing, so you cannot quantify it. But I tell you, Nigerians are most on their own. There's a very serious disconnect. You cannot effectively speak of a symbiotic, organic relationship between the Nigerian people and the government. It's taking you 1 month to point in the direction of how things should be. You are already dislocating the mood. You are alienating the people from what they expected to. It's not every person that suffers the kind of lethargy, this laid-back attitude. You need the grace of that moment. You need the momentum of that moment, the enthusiasm of that time to be able to, to push. And the way it comes is that for as long as we are not able to get that, a lot of people gradually begin to recede to themselves, begin to resign to their fate, begin to believe that, oh no, this may not, it wasn't worth it after all. So I think it is wrong. In South Africa, Ramaphosa took barely 24 hours, and they read out the names. It may not have been a comprehensive or conclusive appointment, but we could see. Not even the domestic personal staff have been named. He didn't take this much the first time to at least name his own private domestic personal staff. I mean, appointment that don't need the ratification of the Senate and so on and so forth. So I believe that for a country that lacks the luxury of time, and that ought to be in a haste to pull the country back on track and begin to fix very serious challenges, we don't have to wait 2 months, particularly when you've traveled that route before, when you have seen the mistakes. It is time to draw from both the mistake and the strength that you have seen over 4 times, and then save us this agony of anxiety, as it were.
So, finally, of all the immediate past ministers that worked with President Buhari for 4 years, of all the 35 ministers, is there any of the ministers that you think should be reappointed based on their performances?
Whether or not I say it, it doesn't detract from the prerogative of the president. I mean, if you look at section 137, 138, it is clear what should happen with respect to the composition of government. In this case, because we are practicing presidential system of government, the appointment of ministers, and then their collective responsibilities are stated out under section 138. What you are expected to take cognizance of is that there must be persons who are qualified to be appointed, to be elected at least into the House of Representatives. There must be persons who must meet the criteria that is specified under section 14, subsection 2, 3, and 4, which has to do with the federal character and the appointment from each state of the federation. The prerogative is that of the president. Whether I say it or not amount to nothing.
Now, we just feel if everybody keeps quiet, we could see a repeat of what happened the last time, with many of the ministers performing below par.
Well, that would be his headache. He has this opportunity to now stamp his feet on the sand of history, of time. If he chooses to come up with the kind of arrangement that he had the posterity will record him as such. However, Mr. President should be conscious. I mean, he doesn't need to be told that it is time to give thanks, to now reciprocate to God, who had made it possible for him to have this opportunity to fulfill his dream of leading this country. The way to do it is to damn the prejudices and primordial sentiments regarding this appointment and face the reality. The reality is competence, character, and capacity. Competence, character, and capacity. The 3 C's must feature in the appointment.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Nice to have you, sir.
Thank you very much.